Detective Jameson had seen some gruesome crime scenes in his time, but nothing could have prepared him for what he was about to witness. He had been called to a remote farmhouse on the outskirts of town, where a family of 4 had been brutally murdered. As he approached the house, he could see that something was not right. The windows were shattered, and there was blood smeared across the walls. Jameson's stomach churned as he opened the door and stepped inside. The stench of death hit him like a wave, and he had to fight the urge to vomit. He took a deep breath and stepped forward, his gun drawn and at the ready. The first thing he saw was the mother's body. She was lying face down on the floor, her throat slit from ear to ear. Blood had pooled around her head, soaking into the carpet. Jameson moved on to the living room, where he found the father's body slumped in a chair. His eyes had been gouged out, and his tongue had been cut out and left on his lap. Jameson shuddered at the brutality of the killing. As he made his way upstairs, he heard a faint whimpering coming from one of the bedrooms. He followed the sound and found the 2 children huddled together in a corner, covered in their parents' blood. Jameson's heart broke as he looked at the children. They were traumatized, their innocent young lives forever scarred by the horrors they had witnessed. He knew it would take a miracle for them to ever recover from this nightmare, but the worst was yet to come. As he searched the rest of the house, Jameson stumbled upon the killer's den. It was a small room tucked away in the basement, filled with all sorts of twisted and macabre items. There were shelves lined with jars of human organs, a collection of knives and other weapons, and a large table covered in bloodstains. And in the center of the room stood the killer himself, staring at Jameson with a cold, dead gaze. Jameson raised his gun and ordered the killer to surrender, but the man just left. He lunged forward and attacked Jameson, knocking the gun out of his hand. The 2 men fought viciously, trading blows and struggling for control. Jameson was no match for the killer's strength and skill, and soon found himself pinned beneath the man's weight. As the killer raised a knife to deliver the final blow, Jameson closed his eyes and braced himself for the end. But then a miracle happened. The children had followed Jameson down to the basement, and in a moment of pure bravery, they left the killer from behind. With their combined efforts, they managed to knock him off balance and give Jameson the opening he needed. He grabbed the fallen gun and fired 3 shots into the killer's chest, sending him sprawling to the ground. Jim stumbled to his feet, gasping for breath, as the children clung to him, sobbing with relief. It was a victory, but a hollow one. The horror of what had happened in that farmhouse would haunt Jameson for the rest of his life, and the scars it left on the children would never truly heal. But even in the midst of such tragedy, there was a glimmer of hope. Jameson knew that he had done everything in his power to make sure that justice was served, and that the monster responsible for this heinous crime would never walk free again.